It's become obvious that the FDA has an extreme pro-abort agenda. Just this year, the group approved abortion drugs to be distributed willy-nilly at chain and local pharmacies. The drug mifepristone has proven to be extremely dangerous to a pregnant woman. Not only does it cause at least one death, the child in the womb, but it's also threatening to the life of the mother. As a matter of fact, studies have shown that these drugs are 4 times more dangerous than surgical abortions and have reportedly increased abortion-related ER visits by 500% from 2002 to 2015. Even still, the FDA, in conjunction with our current administration, is still pushing them in every way it can since its approval of the drug in 2000. Alliance Defending Freedom, the world's largest legal organization committed to protecting religious freedom, free speech, marriage and family, parental rights, and the sanctity of life, has taken the position that the FDA didn't adequately evaluate the drug's safety and are urging the court to take the drug off the market. Today, we're going to hear from ADF's senior counsel about the status of the case and its importance to combat the pro-abort culture we live in. Hi everyone, I'm Tyrion Rose with MRC-TV and Culture. Today we have the privilege of hearing from Alliance Defending Freedom's senior counsel, Erik Baptist. Erik, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
So Erik, last week you spoke at a press conference following the federal district court hearing for Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine versus the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. In this case, 4 national medical associations and 4 doctors in caring for pregnant and post-abortive women are suing the federal government over this drug. Erik, can you just tell me more about the intention of this lawsuit and ADF's role in the case?
Yes, we're happy to bring this lawsuit on behalf of those 8 individual plaintiffs in this case, and we're putting the FDA on trial here for everything it has done to harm women and girls over its approval of chemical abortion drugs, and then the stripping away of basic protections over time during the Obama and Biden administrations. Those protections for those women who do take these drugs, they were essential and they were taken away. So we're happy to present this because especially our doctors in this case, they're the frontline doctors in emergency rooms across America. They are seeing firsthand the damage that is being done by these drugs to women and girls who didn't know the dangers of these drugs before taking them, and then presenting themselves in emergency rooms with serious life-threatening complications. And our doctors are the ones saving their lives, and they say enough is enough. The FDA needs to take these drugs off the marketplace, and because the FDA has refused to do so, we're going to ask the court to do that, and that's essentially what we asked the court last week to do.
Awesome. Wow, that's super inspirational. So thank you for your work on that. It's very apparent how uninformed a lot of people are, or how they are choosing to ignore the facts. So I appreciate your willingness to expose them. Guys, here's a little clip from the press conference where Erik explained more in detail the need for this case.
In 2000, the FDA approved the use of chemical abortion drugs, mifepristone and misoprostol, by characterizing pregnancy as an illness and arguing the drugs provide a meaningful therapeutic benefit. As time has gone on, the FDA has ignored the warnings from our clients about these drugs and has rolled back safeguards that make these drugs even more dangerous to take. The FDA never studied the safety of the drug regimen and disregarded clear evidence that the pills cause life-threatening complications. As a result of ignoring the science, women and girls became victims of the FDA's reckless, agenda-driven approval.
So, Erik, it's apparent how dangerous this drug is and what needs to happen for the pro-life movement and for the safety of, women and girls at large. But unfortunately, as you are well aware, the leftist media disagrees. In a clip from NBC Nightly News about the situation, a Planned Parenthood doctor claimed that the drug isn't dangerous at all and that the evidence is solid.
Abortion providers like Dr. Serena Floyd say the lawsuit is based on misinformation.
How dangerous is this medication? It's not dangerous at all. The evidence is solid. The science is solid. The complication rate is less than 1%.
So, Erik, what is your response to the lies that the media tells about this drug?
Exactly what we told the court last week. In over 23 years of this drug being legalized in the U.S., the FDA has never studied or required a study to evaluate the actual regimen that it approved. Every single study that the FDA has reviewed has included basic safety protocols, including ultrasounds, to demonstrate the safety or purported safety of this drug regimen. What Americans need to know is the other side, the Planned Parenthood of America, can keep talking about how safe this drug is, but the FDA has never actually evaluated it under the real-world use conditions, and that is simply reckless and frankly illegal.
Yeah, wow, that's quite insane because, we look to the FDA for honesty and truth so that we can make the most accurate decisions. But if they're lying to us in this case and the media is helping them do that, then obviously that's going to pose a lot of issues. So, back to the press conference, you had stated that the FDA and honestly the media, they're painting pregnancy as sort of an illness, and they're claiming that, these drugs provide a meaningful therapeutic benefit to women. You also mentioned that the FDA is being driven by an agenda, which, like you just said, is very, very clear, and I definitely agree with you on that part. So, honestly, I think that our culture should celebrate the gift of life, of course, but instead, babies are being treated like diseases that need to be removed or cured. So there's this kind of narcissistic attitude in our culture that paints the idea that women are maybe better off if they abort their children, and they can't be successful unless they abort them, right? So have you noticed this too in the media through your work with ADF?
Yeah, and the biggest lie in all of this is that chemical abortion drugs are safer than going through a normal pregnancy and childbirth. That is simply not true. And you identified the key issue in this. The FDA and the media are all claiming that essentially pregnancy is an illness that needs to be treated through chemical abortion means. And that's simply false. If you're going to have a pregnancy-related complication that even may be life-threatening, you don't take mifepristone or E46, this drug. You take other medications, you have other procedures to treat that underlying complication. And essentially what we told the court last week is the FDA is arguing that because one day a healthy pregnancy may become unhealthy, a woman should be allowed to terminate that pregnancy early on through chemical means. That's simply not allowed. This is not a medication. This is not a drug to solve any problems. And it's important for folks to know that it's a completely unnecessary drug to take.
Yeah, it's not something that does more harm than good. It does only harm and no good, and that's very obvious. So, it's unfortunate, though, like what lengths people will go to end the lives of innocent babies, and how sad it is that the FDA is encouraging them and helping them do that, and the media and our current administration are kind of helping that as well. So, Erik, is there anything else you wanted to add before we end this? Just want to thank you again for your commitment to this case. And pro-life at large.
Yeah, the other thing about the studies that the FDA was supposed to require and assess was they were supposed to assess the safety of these drugs on teenage populations. That's a congressional mandate. And ever since the beginning of this drug and through the later actions to take away basic protections, the FDA has failed to conduct that assessment. That's important here because they are assuming without evidence that a 13-year-old girl will have the same response and safety outcome as a 35-year-old woman who's pregnant and having these drugs. We simply don't think that's true, but it was the FDA's obligation to do that. And it's frankly reckless and dangerous because a girl in her teenage years, her parents aren't obligated to know about this. She could have this in a dorm room, in a bathroom, by herself without any medical supervision. And we simply don't know it's safe. But we know one of these two drugs is a hormone blocker. It could have short-term, long-term health impacts on her. And the FDA has just shirked its responsibilities. And frankly, that's disgraceful.
Yeah, it's really disheartening, and the negligence that the FDA is clearly conducting, because like you were saying, these lives are in danger, and the disinformation and the misinformation and the uninformed is just it's insurmountable. So Erik, when do you expect to hear back from the court, and how can viewers follow along for any updates regarding it?
We asked the court for expedited review, so we're hoping whether it's days or just a few weeks to get a decision from this judge, and then we'll go from there. But if folks want to learn more about this case, read the filings. A lot of people came in support of our case. Go to ADF's website, adflegal.org. You can learn more about the case and really the underlying facts and the history that the FDA did, especially in the 1990s, by the Clinton administration to get this drug approved. You would be shocked and appalled by what you learn.
Wow, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your commitment to this.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time.
Like Erik said, more information on this case can be found on the Alliance Defending Freedom website, and more interviews and videos like this can be found on the MRC's social media pages and our websites too. To help videos like this keep coming, visit mrc.org/donate. Thanks for watching and have a great day.